Ow! Ow. I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phil the Conquistadork. Welcome back to C14 Dating. I hope you've had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. I hope our UK friends have enjoyed their bank holiday, all that good stuff. We're gonna continue along here. Every time I revisit this game, I am given just this unsettling sense of confidence that this time everything's gonna go great, and I'm always proven wrong. So let's find out where we ended up. How did I end up here? I skidded to a halt to get a better idea of my location. My morning jog had been extended way longer than I'd intended. Oh, I'll try this off-road, I said. I won't get lost, I said. A hoodie around my waist had gotten loose, and I retied the sleeves while I walked briskly along the street. I was definitely high up. Beside me was a steep slope, and I knew the cave was located somewhere below. It's already past 8. I should have found my way back like 20 minutes ago. I sauntered closer to the slope and peered down, wondering if I could find a shortcut. No way, that's the cave down there. It was unmistakable. There was a protruding shed half hidden in the rock, and I could see the worn path. I did not see any trail that descended down, not without weaving through the bushes and trees anyway. Okay. If I backtracked, I would be horribly late. What to do? What to do? Right, just go for it. There's no other option than to hurl yourself down the slope. Since when have you ever acted rationally? You're not starting now. Hurl myself down the slope. Let's fucking do it. I really didn't have a choice in the matter, did I? I took one precise step to secure my footing before launching myself, then half slipped, half ran down the slope. Narrowly dodging trees, I stumbled and ended up bursting through a thicket of bushes. Do all these bushes have thorns? What is this? I shielded my face as I ducked under the lower branches. As the walkway came into view, I grabbed a tree trunk to stop my momentum, huffing and puffing heavily from my detour. I emerged from the forest in a less than stellar state, all scratched with leaves stuck to me everywhere. A few curious students glanced up in surprise. When Hendrik noticed their movements, he followed their gaze, then gave me a bewildered look. What happened to you? Took a wrong turn during my jog. I'm still intact, though. I let out a nervous giggle as I hastily brushed off the leaves and plopped down in an empty chair, wanting to drown myself in the work immediately. She tapped her head repeatedly, and I combed my fingers through my hair in response, trying to fix my dishevelment. After a few moments, Joan delicately reached over and plucked a leaf from my hair. Oh, merci. We exchanged an amused smile, and we silently returned to our tasks. Although we were in the shade, I started to feel unusually warm as time went on. I squinted as I struggled to jot down the information on the bone. I wiped my forehead, then paused, surprised by how much sweat had accumulated. It can't be because of the jog, that was hours ago. The pen grazed against the bone and made an illegible squiggle when my hands involuntarily jerked. The trembling didn't stop, and I placed the items down as dread settled in. Ooh, we got the spooky music now. Ooh. Shit's going down. Crap. I shoved my hands into my pockets, searching for the hard candies I had on me whenever my blood sugar was low. Oh no, the diabetes. There it is. I froze when I realized they were empty, and I frantically patted myself down. I always carried emergency rations on me. How could... Oh no. They must have fallen out of my pocket when I slid down the slope. Oh, so stupid. I shot up, nearly knocking the chair over in my haste. Joan flinched, then put her hand to her mouth when she saw my state. Te sense to, my lad? Sick? Yeah, not feeling well. I need sugar. Confused chatter rose from the table, and Hendrik announced something to calm the students down. However, I was not in the mood to address them, and I strained to recall where I could get something sweet and fast. Wait, the fridge! With semi-shaky legs, I started walking over to the outdoor kitchen, feeling lightheaded. Something warm brushed against my arm, and Joan gently touched my shoulder. You okay? I help? Can you grab some apple juice? Palm juice. Juice de pomme. Drink your juice, Shelby. Despite my struggles, Joan understood my request and made a beeline for the kitchen. I decided it was better for me to sit on the bench before the symptoms worsened. I heard DeAndre and Kyler snapping at each other behind the counter. The words were in French, but even I could tell it wasn't friendly banter. Their constant shuffling blocked the path to the fridge, and Joan surveyed the situation. With clenched fists, she impatiently marched over. Bouge de la, Melissa est malade. Oui, madame. DeAndre and Kyler exchanged shocked glances, but shuffled aside to allow Joan through. In her hurry, she fumbled when she grabbed a cup, but regained her movements. After pouring the apple juice, she briskly walked toward me, while doing her best to hold the cup steady. DeAndre tried to rush over, but Kyler barked out something harsh. DeAndre resentfully retreated a few steps. God! Right up there, okay. Joan sat next to me, making sure my fingers grasped the cup firmly. The rim quivered against my lips, but I was able to take a gulp. The tangy sweetness of apple juice filled my mouth. Amidst all this, I could hear Joan talking to Kyler and DeAndre in French, presumably explaining the situation. No one barraged me with questions. As my condition improved, Joan let out a sigh of relief and inched a little further away to give me more room. I licked my lips, then wiped my mouth with an arm as I mumbled behind my knuckles. This is my lineup of choices? Is this what's happening? These are the people These are boyfriends and girlfriends. Holy shit. Merci beaucoup. My amount of gratitude could not be expressed in just 2 words, but I hoped they could sense the heartfelt emotion behind them. You better? Much better. I admit it's been a while since I had an episode like that. What was that exactly? You looked as if you were going to pass out right then and there. Don't pester her with questions. She's still recovering. The cancer is the killer. She has the plague. The hell, man? Who died and made you boss? He's a robot. He's good at making rational decisions. Joan waved an arm to get their attention. Calmez-vous. The tension dissolved. The happy music started playing again. And the 3 looked at me inquisitively. I cradled the cup in my lap as I formulated an answer. I'm okay now, honest. I'm gonna crack a joke. You guys don't need to get all sweet on me now. I'm doing fine. That is not a joke. That's not even a good impression of a joke. I let out a weak laugh to show that I was kidding. DeAndre chuckled, while Kyler looked appalled that I could act airily about the situation. I guess you can't really sugarcoat these things, can you? Sugar. You guys are terrible. Unable to appreciate such high comedy. Kyler disappeared behind the outdoor counter again while Joan lingered. Thank you, Joan. You helped me a lot. I'm glad. I will speak to Sherry. You were sick bad. She should know. As much as I don't want to admit it, good call. Please do. She nodded and left for the cave trail. I thought it said cave troll. I was like, God, the game got very different now. Now it was just me and DeAndre. The lightheartedness faded, and he knelt down before me, placing a concerned hand on my shoulder. Are you sure you're fine, Mel? Is there anything I can do? Well, there is one thing. Fuck me rigid, right here, right up against the counter in the fridge. Or you can grab my diabetic bag from my tent. It's solid green, you can't miss it. I need to check my sugar levels. Can do. Just sit tight. With one final pat, he stood up and walked around the museum building. He returned with the carrying case, and I set the cup of apple juice down before I unzipped it. Sensing him lingering nearby, I gave him a reassuring laugh. I'm fine now. You can return to your cooking duties and stuff. Sorry for sending you off on a fetch quest like that, cooking boy. Fetch quest? We were interrupted by the clanging of pots, followed by an angry French curse. DeAndre groaned loudly. Not for the first time. God damn it, Kyler fails at this. Wow, we're just dropping the fucking GD bombs now, aren't we? What, cooking? With an incredulous stare, he gave me a helpless shrug. More like everything. I'll complain to you after. Focus on resting first. Later, Mel. Aw, thanks, blonde person. While the two continued their argument, I checked my sugar levels and sighed in relief. Still, I was exhausted after the hypoglycemic episode. There you are. Sorry about not finding you. I needed to get my glucose levels back to normal first. No, I understand. Do you know what caused it? I didn't see you at breakfast. I got lost. Not only did I jog longer than I intended, but I also skipped a meal. This made me sound more and more irresponsible as I went on, and I lost my emergency candy. Please don't fail me. I wouldn't deduct marks for this. Melissa, I think you should get some rest. Let's focus on getting your meal schedule back on track. Right. However, I'd like to talk to you about this later. My shoulders pricked, and I could only stammer an agreement. What will she bring up anyway? I hope it's not about monitoring me. Alright, so we're in the lab. Success, hooray. That's it. 6 more objects to clean in the lab. God damn it. Alright, this game is less and less fun. Force. That. Alright, 22. Good. Only 1 point away. Nice and clean. Awesome. Okay. This and that. No, shit. I didn't. Ah, god damn it. Fuck. Oh, man. I was going to entertain you guys with my craft sticking and toothpicking skills. That was a total accident. I know you're capable, but what happened doesn't sit well with me. You'll be alone all weekend, and none of us are staying in Korean. If you'd like, you can stay with Helena and me. I held in a groan. If it was only for one night, I would be fine with it. However, I felt it would be an inconvenience if I roomed there for 3 nights. Moreover, I wasn't sure if I would enjoy spending time there, with the language barrier and age gap. I promise I'll monitor myself extra carefully over the weekend. I can set an alarm to wake myself up to check my glucose levels. I can leave food next to my bed. I can do a lot of things. I can do everything. I'll do everything in the world. I'll clean your kitchen. I'll start eating constantly, all the time. That might bring up its own problems, but I'll just do all kinds. I just don't want to live with you and your weird old friends, is basically what I'm getting at. I know you feel it hinders your independence, but you're my only student on this field trip. It's my responsibility to guarantee your safety and well-being. I want this to be a wonderful experience. I don't want you to ruin everything for everyone else. Maybe I should cancel my plans and stay here, just in case. At that moment, the office chair swiveled around, and Hendrik casually veered from his laptop, like a James Bond villain, apparently. Couldn't help but notice you 2 women talking. Would you perhaps like the opinion of a man? I bet you would. If it's not a problem, I could stay. Ah, here we go. It'd be no problem, and I'd catch up on my work, too. Oh, would you? You're a godsend, Hendrik. Please, fuck her good. Fuck her, she's gonna love it. You and your arm, everything's gonna be awesome. Relieved, Sherry exhaled with a hand on her chest. From her tone of voice, it was like the choice was already made without my input. She must have known him for a long time to place that much trust in him. It's true, they were former lovers. It was a weird, weird summer last year. Of course, Melissa has the final say. Don't feel pressure to say yes because I offered. You know yourself best, and I respect your decision. God, there don't need to be this many clarifiers in the writing, guys. You could just get to the point. My eyes darted between Sherry and Hendrik, one obviously more distraught than the other. I know myself best, huh? Then... Wait, what offer? I forget which... Am I taking the offer of... I'm gonna decline it. Does that mean I'm declining Sherry's offer or Hendrik's offer? I don't know. Alright, it's up to Hendrik, because I have no idea. That wasn't clear. The wording was weird. It doesn't really matter to me. If you want to stay, you can. It's not about me and what I want. It's about you. You're responsible for your health. We're both concerned, but we can't force you to accept or decline. His voice was calm, but also stern. He was right. I shouldn't waver when it came to my medical condition and leave it up to them to decide. Well, then what was the point of even having that option? Accept the offer. Fine. I admit it had been a while since I had had a hypoglycemic episode. It'd be comforting to have someone occupying the building. Wasn't babysitting. Hendrik did say he could finish more work. Maybe I could brush up on my geology education too. I also wasn't looking forward to another sleepless experience. Who knew a museum could feel so eerie at night? Yeah, who knew a building filled with bones could creep you out when the sun went down? You said it was no trouble, right? Then I'd appreciate it if you stayed for the weekend. Cool. Shut up. You're a bad person, Hendrik, and I don't know if I want to go down on you anymore. I don't know if that is my thing anymore. I'm glad we got this situation sorted out. Augustine walked through the entrance, announcing that he had locked everything up, saved the back and front door. All done. Now, has the discussion been settled? Augustine had been in the same room briefly when Sherry first addressed... Yeah, I got it. You don't need to explain that to me. It has. Hendrik has offered to stay. Not a bad decision. He is behind on his work. I hate you, Dad! You don't understand me! I'll see you Monday morning. Melissa, Hendrik, right, take care. Sherry, bye. Augustin, Jesus, little man in the green hat who lives under the stairs, goodbye. Grass, goodbye. Goodbye, laboratory coat. Goodbye, desk lamp. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Sherry grabbed her purse and walked out while Augustin followed. He lingered by the door, his eyes sparkling mischievously. It might be a good thing for you to spend more quality time with a cute girl. No, Gil, you know me. I guess. What does that mean? The chief archaeologist laughed and closed the lab door while Hendrik rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. Senile old man, you're a student here, not a hot piece of ass. Come on, Hendrik. I bet if you really thought about it, you could come up with a dirty, geology-based pun about that ass. If you really tried. But you're not trying. That's your problem. You've given up already. And that is not a turn-on for the hot young ladies like me. It's fine. What's the work you're behind on, anyway? Sitting back down, he rolled the office chair to his laptop and rested his hand on the mouse. Just some documents from last year that I still need to get around to. He made a few clicks, opening up an application I wasn't familiar with. I work here exclusively during the summer, so things can pile up quickly. Hendrik instantly brightened like a child as he whirled toward me. I'm updating the microstratigraphy log now that I've got some new dates established. Want to see? No, I actually don't. Sure, what is it exactly? Oh, the one time they don't give me a fucking choice. Behold the entire strata of Grotte de Calen. He opened up a huge visual diagram. One side was colorful, all earth tones, with various dots and gray spots of various sizes. Okay. It took me a moment to realize I was looking at all the layers documented. The top had a cavern picture, including a cute bat and speleothems. Each sediment had its own assigned identification and information blurb. The laptop was gunmetal gray. Each individual button had a letter on it to designate what letter it would show up on the screen were you to hit that particular button. It was on a large flat surface known as a table that stood 2.5 to 3 feet off of the ground. And that was just the stuff going back to 40,000 years ago. Can you scroll down? I want to see where I'm excavating. Layer name? I'm almost done with 3CL. So you're roughly around the 120,000 mark, closer to the end of the EEMIAN period, depending on who you ask. Either way, it's still interglacial sediments. Summers are dry and warm, winters mild, with temperature and boreal trees. That's when men were men, and girls were girls. God damn, I love 120,000 years ago. So much better than the fucking millennials now. Am I right? Am I right? You guys hear me right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It was forested then, gets cooler around there, the 130,000 mark, the beginning of the early EEMIAN period. There's a surge of pine and spruce in the pollen counts. The cursor circled the indicated spot. Tons of clay layers. You'll have fun when you get to those. I didn't bore you, did I? No! 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 Of course not. Actually, to be honest, I was surprised you knew so much about pollen counts. That doesn't seem geologish. Palynology isn't my strong point, but it's useful when applied in geology, like geochronology, and archaeology, and entomology, and enophagity, and rockahology, and rockology, and scuffology, and mineralogy, and biology, and grology, rology, ology. You pick up the interdisciplinary blah, 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 blah. If anything, I'm better at compiling the data. I leave the bio stuff to the real experts. Now the stuff I focus on are in situ and the reworked paleosols, along with... There was a low grumble, and I turned away from the computer screen. He chuckled and clicked out of the program. Since the students left, dinner was not served, and it was getting close to the time I should be eating. It's probably for the best if we stop here. I tend to get wrapped up in my work. Hope I didn't talc your ear off. Oh, Hendrik, now I love you again. No, I'll be pestering you all weekend about this kind of stuff. You won't mind, right? This internship provided me with hot pieces of ass all over the place. I was gonna hit this up, and I was not gonna miss out on the opportunities and stuff. How could I pass it up? By all means, you're a student here too. Ah, wait, if I'm staying here, I should pick up some stuff from my place. And food. I can't eat the leftovers here. He walked over to the lab entrance and grabbed his keys off a small peg set. Are you in the mood for spaghetti? I'm not an amazing cook, but I already have ingredients back home, and I can make it here, if you don't mind waiting a little longer. Yes, I'd love spaghetti. We're getting married this fall, aren't we? Then before I go, is there anything you avoid eating? Allergies? Diet restrictions? Jesus Christ! I don't eat red meat. Got it. Oh my God! These are not details we need. Jesus, get on with the fucking story. With a jingle of his keys, he departed, leaving me my own devices. I'll keep myself busy for now. God. A little while later, Hendrik was making the sauce in a large skillet, stirring in basil and crushed tomatoes. He also slipped in a small tab of acid, and we tripped for hours. The garlic cloves smelt heavenly. I was across the counter, elbows propped up while I watched him. I thought you said you weren't great at cooking. This is a 4-ingredient sauce. I hardly think it counts as anything above beginner level. 5 if you count the salt and pepper, or would that be 6? We have banter. My word, a 6-ingredient pasta sauce. I'm moving up in the culinary strata. I hope you don't mind a meatless sauce, though. Vegetarian? For a while now. You? Or do you only avoid red meat? You could call me a semi-vegetarian. I avoid meat when I can. Jesus Christ. Ah, the lazy vegetarian diet. It's more like I avoid meat, but I won't say no to Grandma's yearly Christmas steak. Don't want to break her heart after all the effort she put into our meals. Some of my family members were baffled when I started making the switch. My old Boma would be all, back in my day we slathered everything in butter and deep fried it, and that was the way we liked it. Boma, what's your surname again? Lukenhuis. I'm from the Flanders region. Flemish, Belgian Dutch is spoken there. Augustin is my mother's brother, if you're trying to figure out family relations. Makes sense. And you know all 3 languages? That and some German. Very meager, though. I got my Master of Science in Geology in Germany, and only English knowledge was required. Geez, you're quite accomplished. That's wow. That's wow, really? No need to flatter me. I don't think I'm that... Oh shit, it's burning. He quickly removed the skillet and placed it on a wooden platform, followed by the boiled pot of pasta. Grabbing a creased rag, he waved away the thick white smoke, then mustered up a sheepish smile. Smooth. Let's pretend you're still impressed, and bon appetit, shall we? I hate it. I hate that so much. You're a bad person, Hendrik. You're a bad person. The sauce was a tinge garlicky, but I ate it without complaint. It was a refreshing change from weekend leftovers, and I was grateful for his generosity. We ate outside, focusing on our meals too much to talk. When I was done, I set the fork down on the plate with a clank, drawing Hendrik's attention. You sure we're famished? What are your plans now? Hopefully get fucked by a dude with a ponytail and some weird shitty tattoos? I'll do the dishes. It's only fair since you made us dinner. You sure? Of course, let me return the favor. You did more than your share. Besides, wouldn't you like to return to your work ASAP? He reverted his gaze, confirming I was right, as he found the offer too enticing to protest. Then, if you wouldn't mind... Cramming the remaining pasta into his mouth, he stood up, chewing frantically. After arranging the fork on the plate, he casually passed it over, then cleared his throat. Thanks, Melissa. I admit that's one of the drawbacks of living alone. You can't divide up the chores. He headed for the museum entrance. I let out a hopeless sigh, but my lips curled into a faint smile. Really? I guess that was about the alone comment. Like, Melissa's on the hunt, man. She's like... She needs somebody to love. That is all she's about right now. Plates in hand, I transferred all of the utensils, including the skillet and pot. When I was done washing, I grabbed my pajamas and other belongings from the tent and tripped up to the second floor of the building. As I got ready for bed, I wondered where Hendrik would spend the night. Most likely downstairs. The laboratory was spacious if you moved the tables. At least I wouldn't have to worry about ghosts tonight. Okay. Why? Alright, weekend. Brr. The wooden stairs were cold against my bare feet as I stepped down the creaky panels. Sleepily rubbing one eye, I stopped in front of the lab door. After combing my hair with my fingers to give me a half-decent appearance, I opened the door a crack and peered inside. Hendrik, you up? The lights were on. I opened the door completely and stepped into the room. I caught him masturbating to underage anime porn. I spotted Hendrik slumped over his laptop, a few fingers resting on the keyboard. His face was obscured behind his arm, but it was evident he was sleeping. You didn't go to bed at all, did you? I quietly approached him and raised a hand, wondering if I should tap him on the shoulder to wake him. Maybe it was better if I left him. I'm gonna make coffee. I think coffee will perfect wake-up call. I'll serve it to him without my clothes on. He'll love it. He'll be so grateful. Besides, he did mention the disadvantages of living at home alone. Maybe it'll be welcoming to wake up to some fresh coffee already made for a change. I didn't know what he preferred, but I reckoned regular old black coffee was a safe bet. I went to the outdoor kitchen and examined the coffee machine to determine its complexity. Delighted that it used coffee pods, I picked a dark roast from the capsule holder and prepared a single cup. When I returned, I pushed the keyboard out of the way and then gently shook Hendrik's shoulder. He let out a lazy yawn as he sat up. Once I set the mug down, his eyes lit up with interest, and he glanced my way. Morning, thought you'd like a pick-me-up. Sorry, I wasn't sure what you wanted, so it's plain black. He smiled and gingerly hooked a finger through the handle. It's perfect. I like my coffee how I like my job. Dark and dirty. Jesus Christ. He grinned proudly to himself as I rolled my eyes at his joke, and he swiveled the chair in my direction. Thanks, Melissa. I really needed that. I practically passed out. Why don't you come and sit on Daddy's lap, and I'll show you other things that I study which are hard and dark and dirty. Were you able to finish some stuff? We'll find out once I start reviewing it. After a tiny sip, he set the coffee down and navigated the mouse. Pages and pages of the letter M and commas. I don't think the Royal Society of Archaeology would accept this. While he corrected his work, I made a caramel macchiato and settled in one of the chairs positioned at the center table. We made small talk while we enjoyed our drinks, mostly about the work he'd accomplished, or not, and how Hendrik never found the museum that creepy at night. What? You mean you never experienced the sound of someone slowly walking up the stairs and then stopping? You don't seem like someone who'd be terrified of ghosts. I was honestly never scared of ghosts until now. I'm blaming your uncle and his Wrath of the Neanderthal joke. If anything was haunting this museum, it'd be all the cave bears we dug up. He set the empty mug down next to his computer. I'm going for a shower. Even a geologist likes to be dirt-free once in a while. As long as you don't steal all the hot water, it's my one luxury when everyone is gone. No 20-minute showers, gotcha. Or, just to be practical, we could shower together and the steam will keep us warm for the whole weekend. Standing up, he set his laptop to sleep mode. As we walked down the hallway, I whimsically swiveled my chair toward the table. My eyes fell on a bright green bottle next to a small bag. Judging by the washcloth folded beside it, I grabbed the bottle, briefly scanned the contents before bolting out of my chair. Hendrik, you forgot your shampoo. Peering around the corner, he already had a towel thrown over his shoulder. I tossed the bottle underhandedly, and he caught it with ease. Oh, thanks. You just spared me a potentially awkward moment there. No prob. Good God. Okay. I failed my activities. Again, I failed my activities. I am just the giantest failure of all time, Mother of God. Okay. It's the start of week 3. Oh, look, we got new tabs. Looky, looky. All right, we got activities here. The volunteering for the cooking, the gaming, socializing. All right, what are relationships about? Okay, so I've got like a sliver of a heart with the nerdy shoujo guy. DeAndre, I'm like nearly 3 hearts. He's totally into me. Kyler, a heart, yeah. Hendrik, almost 2 hearts. Joan, oh, Joan is into me. So basically, if I want to go safe, I can go after DeAndre. If I want to go sexy, I can go after Joan. And if I want to go probably what the route the movie would be, I'd go with Hendrik here. Because that seems right, doesn't it? Like the whole idea of like, you know, falling in love with your teacher. And he's not a teacher really. He's like the older guy, the older man. That's a fantasy thing, isn't it? The older man. Oh, I'm playing. I'm playing this game too much. It's fucking with my brain. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's enough for today. My name is Phil the Conquistadork. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. It means a hell of a lot to me. Tell me if you're enjoying the playthrough, if you'd like to see me play any other games in particular. Hope you had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye!